They were in Buffalo, which is apparently the hometown of Danny Garcia, and they lead no introduction, no open, straight into MJF's entrance because they think, well, let's desperately cling on to the big bangers with another big banger. And as soon as MJF gets in the ring and says, Buffalo, New York, boom, he's interrupted by Danny Garcia's music. And yes, I know Danny Garcia. I know because they told me Danny Garcia is from Buffalo, New York. He's a hometown guy.
Daniel Garcia, just to make sure people know it's not the production partner, ex-wife of The Rock.
Well, MJF was calling him Danny.
Well, if MJF does it, I guess you can do it.
I think he's got a better chance of marrying The Rock than he does of fucking drawing money as a main eventer. So let's keep our options open.
Well, she's jacked, but anyway.
Well, I know it looks like she could kick the fucking shit out of the other Danny Garcia. But they should have let MJF hook them by speaking to them first, because now we already don't care. Because anybody from Buffalo or anybody not from Buffalo don't give a fuck that he's a hometown guy in Buffalo. And most of the people in Buffalo don't even know who the fuck he is. We got 4,000 people or less in this building that know who, but let MJF talk a little bit and hook them. And then he comes out, but then they have a love fest for a while where Garcia thanks MJF for saving him last week, and he's going to say nice things about MJF, and they're both standing there in leather jackets. They look like the board of directors of an S&M club. And Garcia does a decent promo, but it took a while. But it was talking about, I say a decent promo because he was well-spoken, but he talked about how MJF motivated him to not be a pillar, but a backbone, a workhorse, and a foundation. When did MJF, the epitome of, I only wrestle when I make a lot of money and fucking the rest of these assholes wrestle every week? And that was his gimmick. I'm not saying that that was his attitude behind the scenes. He inspired this guy to become a workhorse. And the MJF responded with energy. And he said, he's got the energy, but he's got to say this shit that's not MJF. He said, thank you back. And he shook Garcia's hand, and he did a promo trying to get this guy over that he's not. He's not that over, and he's not going to get that over. It devalues MJF's word to have to say these ridiculously over-the-top good things about fucking Daniel Garcia. Including, he said, nobody in the back deserves my spot, but one guy is getting closer. And he didn't say, Danny, you remind me of myself. God damn it, what a fucking moot-faced fucking guy with very little personality and a standard fucking body. What?
If you squinted, because they were both wearing their black leather outfits, I don't know why they both were in the same kind of outfit out there. Kind of, I don't know.
Yes.
But if you squinted, it looked like Andrew Dice Clay and George Michael were having a big meeting in 1988.
Well, which one was going to be the first one to go to the public restroom?
George Michael, historically and chronologically, George Michael would be the answer.
Well, then hopefully MJF then becomes Dice. But this took forever. And as I said, I think MJF is blowing his credibility by putting this obvious mid-card kid at this point. Maybe he'll get great, whatever. But he's putting him over like he's Steve Austin. It was too overboard. Unless it's revealed that it's to butter him up so he can stab him in the back or fuck him in the ass or become a heel again. And then MJF offered Garcia the match with him at Wembley Stadium out of nowhere. I think I ought to wrestle you at the stadium. And people are kind of like, what? Huh?
For the people who think it's nuts, I'm wrestling Hechechero on pay-per-view. Watch this.
Yes. This is even wackier. But as soon as he says that, they play Ostrich's music. Here comes Willie Boy. And now it's three baby faces in the ring. challenging each other to this and that. And then Will turns his back on MJF and talks to Garcia and said, I heard you want a shot at the Intercontinental title, bruv. And then he puts Garcia over, and it's like this guy paid these people to come out and do cameos for him, putting him over, right? and all elite Scooby-Doo. But he put Garcia over, and he told Garcia, you can have a title shot next week on TV for the Intercontinental title. But even better, bruv, how about I put the world title on the line next week as well? Now, I don't know whether I don't know how what he was supposed to say.
No, he meant what he said. The world if he wins the world title at the pay-per-view, it'll be on the line.
No, but he didn't say if he wins it. That's the thing. He said, how about if I put the world title? The announcers had to come back afterwards and go, well, now that's potentially if he wins it, but he offered to put a title up next week on TV that he doesn't win until Sunday. If you took him at the words that were coming out of his mouth.
I like this as a new gimmick. He should just offer up all sorts of things he can't deliver.
And the fans didn't really react because they're like, what the fuck? He doesn't have that title. And then Will and Garcia shake hands, and Will walks out without speaking to MJF, and MJF looks unhappy. And he just, the announcers are using the word, he was upstaged by all this. He's not used to that. And MJF just curtly and abruptly tells old Danny, you concentrate on your title match next week. That's the most important thing. And he leaves. And then we go to the back, and here's another babyface to be heard from. Swerve Strickland, the world champion, who with Nana is watching the monitor. And he cuts promo on Ostrich for putting up a title that he hadn't won yet. And he's a baby face. These are 4 baby faces. And MJF still may be the most popular guy. If not, it's Ostrich. Swerve was short time ago. And I don't think Garcia, but
when's that War Games match? It's like an afterthought. I forgot all about it. As you're talking about, I'm like, man, all the babyfaces are feuding with each other because all the heels are feuding with luchadors. And I was like, well, no, not all the heels. The Elite, they're not feuding with luchadors.
Well, but no, that's on free TV next month, isn't it?
It is, yeah, I guess so.
Yes. That'll be a completely different thing. But anyway, so all these baby faces are fighting over shit, and the 2 guys that are wrestling for the world title are going to be a tag team tonight on the show against 2 job guys. All righty. Any final? Yes.
A couple final things. One, it had moments that were okay. But AEW, over the last few years, has spent a lot of time trying to elevate Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia.
A lot of time.
And I personally think Garcia is a lot further along than Wheeler Yuta.
Oh, well, God, yes. I mean, Mother Nature beat him all to that. It looks like a grown fucking adult.
You see, you had to say something and now you got me.
Well, I'm just telling you.
But Garcia's, again, they're spending a lot of TV time to get this guy over. MJF, was doing stuff with Cody. Jericho latched onto him forever. The CM Punk stuff's the best stuff in AEW history. Little things here and there. Darby, Pillman Jr. Ever since that moment where they started putting it out there, before it even happened, that he should be a babyface, he needs to be a babyface, it's like he's constantly doing stuff on TV. You're like, why? Just why? Who didn't say no? Who didn't say, let's rethink this? It's just constantly mixing with the wrong people and using MJF's credibility and capital to try to get them over, and then it doesn't happen because the booking falls apart. Look at Jay White, case in point. Jay White pinned MJF.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's right.
Forgot about it because it didn't do anything for anyone except hurt MJF a little bit more, another chink in the armor. You know, he's going for a new thing right now. You got to think this is the setup a heel turn, because otherwise,
one would hope.
You know, what the hell would this be? But that means we have to wait till Wembley maybe for the heel turn, but we'll see what happens.
Well, no, they can't have MJF and Garcia at Wembley.
No, it has to be MJF and Ospreay.
Yes, so I think he has to pretty much fuck Garcia next week.
But there's the problem. There's trying to make someone, and there's trying to make the wrong person. And I'm not a Daniel Garcia. I hate the dance. I think it's stupid, and it looks like he toned it down a little bit. Now he just teases lifting the arms up.
He just didn't want to do it in front of his mother. But
the personality, the charisma, the promo, and then just what he looks like in the ring versus a lot of the other wrestlers. I'm not saying it can't happen in the future, but I'm saying now's not the time. And you need to spend every second of TV time you can taking advantage of what's working and finding the right guys to elevate. And they spent, 15 minutes here with the two top stars in the company right now. The biggest star in the company, MJF, and the emerging talent who has not really fucked up yet. And the booking's kind of not screwed him up too much yet, Will Ospreay. You have them trying to get him over. It seems like if you really wanted to try to justify doing it, you could, but it's poorly thought out and it shouldn't be done. Not now. That's what.
And possibly not ever.